welcome to this panel discussion where we are going to be discussing a lot of stuff that's been going on in the world of virtual production. I think that's a buzzword that you often hear these days in the industry. And we have some of the best from the industry who have been doing pioneering work in their respective, not in their, I'd say, respective geographies, but also contributing to the progress of virtual production within our region. And for that, I'd like to welcome Mr. Vikram Bhatt from Loneranger Productions. We have Vivek Reddy, who is the co-founder, CEO of Viga Entertainment. They're fully dedicated to real-time pipelines. And then we have Nesikaa from Stage Unreal. They have been doing some trailblazing work in Chennai and Hyderabad. In fact, the #1 trending music that you have today on YouTube, featuring I'll let her talk about it. It's made by her, so it's a pretty awesome panel. So with that, I already have a set of questions that I want to ask all of you, but I'll begin with Vikram, and maybe you can just start with introductions. So Vikram, you want to just drop a quick introduction about yourself?
Hi everyone, and thank you for having me here. My name is Vikram Bhatt, and I am a filmmaker. I have been a filmmaker for more than 3 decades now. I have seen cinema evolve from analog to semi-digital to digital, and now to virtual. With your permission, Arvind, I have a short presentation that I would like to show, perhaps now, or perhaps after everyone's made their introductions.
I think that'll be good. Yeah, please. I think we'll just we'll just let Vivek and Nesikaa do the introduction, and then we'll throw over to you for sure.
Sure.
Thank you. Vivek, you want to go next?
All right, sure. Hey everyone, I'm Vivek. I finished my master's from University of Pennsylvania 10 years ago, and then since then on, I've been working in technology for movies. I recently finished on Lion King from 2016 to 2019, where I was part of the Lion King virtual production crew, helping on all the tech stack related to making that movie. And over the last 3 years, we have a company here in Bangalore called Viga Entertainment Technology, where we focus on 2 main things: location-based entertainment and real-time filmmaking. On location-based, we recently completed Dubai Expo, and in real-time filmmaking, we are on some exciting projects where pipelines are being used. So I'll be going over that segment later on in this panel. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Vivek. Nesikaa, you want to go next? And you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, and thanks for this opportunity. And my name is Nesikaa, and I did my BSc in film technology in SRM here in Chennai. And after that, I started my career as an DI colorist. And after working as a colorist for a couple of years, I gradually shifted towards virtual production. And it's been 2 years since we have been doing this. And exclusively, we have been specializing in camera VFX for past 1 year. And we have done some couple of exciting projects. So in the past 1 year, I think we were able to do about some 5 to 6 projects, which actually gained us a lot of popularity in this field.
That's awesome. Very, and one of the things I really like about the panel is, last year around when we had the VFX Summit, we were talking about virtual production and whatnot, but we really never had examples out of India and this region. And this time we actually have folks working on it and talking about their experience. So with that, let me ask a specific question to Vikram, and maybe you could, and that will be like a nice segue for Vikram to also show your presentation. But you have been setting up a large lab in Mumbai and really working towards this feature-length film. So in your experience, you of course talked about how you saw a movie evolving from analog to digital and now into this virtual production. So how is that impacting your decision making at a studio level? Because I'm sure you interact with studios a lot. And of course, virtual production also demands a new approach to budgeting and scheduling when compared to traditional workflows. So how do you address it? And maybe your presentation would help answer this question. So over to you, Vikram.
Yeah, so I think it might make more sense for me to show you the presentation and then perhaps answer your question, because then there would be a context.
Absolutely. Please go ahead. Yeah.
And I love your wallpaper.
That's my real wallpaper. So please go ahead, Vikram. You can.
Yeah, just doing that.
Meanwhile, we have questions flowing in about AI technology. So let me answer the question in just a little bit of time about how artificial intelligence is simulating the creative sense of human and producing arts and films. I think that's a very deeply, I'd say even philosophical question. We'll get to answer that in a bit. Are you okay with sharing the screen, or do you have trouble, or do you need help?
But I think I got it.
Great.
I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah. If you can just pause it for a bit. Before you share, if you can click on the share screen again, you just need to make sure that it is optimized for audio and optimized for video, and it has audio sharing check too. Just make sure that.
So should I stop it and start again?
You can just click on share screen again. You don't need to stop share. Just click on share screen again.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, you should see like 2 check boxes. It says optimize.
Yeah. I got it.
Yeah, just check that, and that way we can hear your audio. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great. I don't think we can hear your audio, Vikram.
Sorry?
I don't think we can hear the audio. We can clearly hear the video is playing well, but the audio is not.
I did optimize it.
Is there sound to it, or there's no sound?
There is. Can someone help me with it? It's a Vimeo link. I can just send it across.
Yeah, if you can just send me the Vimeo link, maybe I can share it.
Yeah, very easy. So basically, there are 2, but you can choose to play the first one. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with this.
No problem. While we are waiting, maybe while we're waiting for this, Vikram, do you mind going? Do you mind if I just throw it back to Vivek?
No problem. Please go ahead. No problem.
Please send me the link and I'll just share it in just a bit. But so Vivek, you of course are totally dedicated to real-time pipelines. You're like completely committed to it, right? So can you talk about what Viga does to begin with? What made you convert and fully dedicate yourself to real-time pipelines? And of course, you've been building a lot of tools around establishing best practices and processes into virtual production. So what are your learnings? What are your benefits from it? And you as a VFX house would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, after Lion King, it was a 3-year period where we went through a lot of learning that was happening between how hardware has to interact and then how software has to work and how real time has to come together. So the whole idea is real time is hard when compared to visual effects in terms of efficiency of workflow. It's because multiple people come together into a single ecosystem, and also great content can be made only faster iterations are available. That's the whole belief. So the entire belief is built on the aspect that real time has enabled faster iterations for content creators, but can it be really fast in terms of iterations? Because because if only the whole circle, it's like automobile industry, right? Like if information goes from in car manufacturing, if it goes from the supply chain in a proper way, the end information, the product is good. Over here, the important idea is visual effects had its workflows. The whole thing was set up properly, but then it also had its rendering advantages, and it had a proper iteration in it. Over here, what happens is because real time is like can be so fast in certain aspects. We strongly believed in the fact that iteration is the key here. Now, as a company, what we mainly focus on is building original software and building hardware from scratch. That's been one of the priorities for us when it comes to real time. Other than that, we have also been doing location based and everything, which is for another day. But for today's thing, I also wanted to talk to you more about the real time pipeline that we actually have. Some of the best practices that we are using within the company. So we're also working on some of the shows, and we are actually using these pipelines in those shows. So I'll actually share my screen, and I'll just quickly talk about it. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
All right. So here's a video. There's no audio for this, and there's no need to optimize in this one as well. So I'll just talk about an entire workflow that we utilize for real time. I'll be skipping certain parts of this in this video. So the idea is we have our own software which we built. We have 3 softwares basically. One is called as Movie Collab. It helps in collaboration between multiple artists. And the second software is called as Sync Space. It manages the file system between all the computers, all the artists, be it remote or be it in office. And the third one is distributed rendering. So these are the 3 key components which we believe are crucial for real-time rendering in terms of a pipeline, in terms of efficient pipelines. So with Movie Collab, it's been in the works for like last 3 years almost. It's literally like an updating software, task management, production management software where you can create n number of tasks, and you will have all the updates available. You can play back them. You will get all the reviews available. But the magical part here is it's all coming straight from Unreal Engine in this case, and it's doing all the encoding in the cloud, and it's coming and sitting here. Now, yeah, there are a lot of features in this. I won't go into complete detail of all those features where a director or a technical artist can come and comment on those, and they go back directly again to the artist. So there's a very well organized loop is what I can say, and that loop is what we believe can help make efficient pipelines in companies, and that loop has to be completed. So yeah, we can create sequences, we can create charts, and yeah, versioning system is there. Multiple versions are easily accessible and scalable, all running on custom cloud. You can use your own cloud application wherever you want to host this data. So this application is something which we're using actively for all our productions. And then there is also a parallel mobile component available for Android and iOS, where any user who's working on any shot, if they want any review, it directly comes as a mobile notification for any of the users that are working from creative output point of view. And yeah, the mobile also has the same feature set where you can tag along and script along. So that's about Movie Collab. It's a software end-to-end which manages the whole workflow. Now, Sync Space is something which manages all the file system for our users. So let's say a user wants to send content to another person, and they want to synchronize. We don't use any traditional methods, Google Drive or copy paste or anything. It always goes through these external tools, and it goes straight into an S3 bucket where there's no server running, and it stores directly there. So again, this is all like a workflow. One demonstration that we wanted to just showcase in this panel was like there's an artist computer, and an artist gets a feedback, and how fast is this workflow is what we wanted to show. Like these are practices that have evolved. They were not like done in like a quick 1 month thing or anything. We kind of observed through all the work that we are doing, also through Unreal Engine short film contest that happened last year. It has evolved greatly, is what we will say. So it's like an artist is working, he gets a feedback, and then he does his job, and then the rest of the thing is like it should automatically happen. So that's what we're trying to show here, where the artist finishes his job, it goes into distributed rendering, and all the computers will start rendering the shot, and then the data will go and sit into the S3 bucket where Movie Collab will take it for review. And then at the same time, it will go and give a Teams notification or Slack notification if you're using any project management tool in your company. And then the data will go and sit in Resolve or Adobe Premiere Pro or anything. So it's like absolute automation where you only focus on the artist, what you want to do in virtual production, and the rest of the things will go automatically. So yeah, I'll just fast forward it. Basically, a director has given a note here, and how fast is this note going to be fixed by an artist is what we will be solving for. And then the artist does the feedback here, and then yeah, I mean, I'm just fast forwarding to showcase like some important components. That this is the distributed rendering platform where we just select which shots the user wants to render it out, and then they submit it. And we are going to go into a remote computer right now. Yeah, this is the distributed rendering software, which will automatically take the input from the artist and it will submit to all the computers. So it will distribute the frames. Like if you have 100 frames, it will say 10, 10, 10, 10 frames, and it'll do really fast rendering. And after doing the rendering, what we have is, this is the rendering process. Yeah, this is, it's giving a Teams notification, and this is where in Movie Collab, it comes back again in like really quick turnaround time. So I think, so ultimately I started off this conversation by mentioning about iteration speed, right? So we as a company, we are going for absolute iteration speed efficiency. That's what we are aiming for. We're trying to understand the process. The process is very new in virtual production, and it has its knowledge learning curve. And we are trying to figure out the areas where an artist is spending a lot of time trying to manage files and trying to import, trying to export, and things like that. And because of these three applications, we're reducing all of that time. Currently, we are rendering around 80 shots per week, and I'm actually happy about that for a TV show. So yeah, that's like the overall viewpoint of what we do, Arvind, and what kind of practices we are using in Viga, and yeah, that's like a summary.
Cool. Thank you so much, Vivek. I mean, clearly you found a problem in working with real-time pipelines, and you went ahead and just literally created tools from scratch in order to solve those problems for yourself. So,
that's right.
In fact, I want to have a follow-up question, but I also want to give like time to others.
Sure.
One of the things that I also want to maybe you can touch upon later is how do we as the common people working on virtual production get in touch with the tools that you have. But while we park that question, I also want to then quickly go back to Vikram, because I now have his video playing. So let me just play his video so we could see all the awesome stuff that he has been doing out of Mumbai and how he went into the world of virtual production. So let me share. Optimize, share.
Everything is a story. All inventions and all discoveries are stories. And this is the story of how we partially invented and partially discovered the magic lamp of making movies. And yet it happened amidst the tragedy of the pandemic in the most trying conditions. This is that story. When the lockdown locked us into our homes and the future of filming seemed uncertain, we were forced to think.
Arvind, what are you trying to show us? Because we're getting a frozen picture. Anil Vanvari here.
Ah, fantastic. So that's.
You'll have to please replay what we were trying to play.
There you go.
Everything is a story. All inventions and all discoveries are stories. And this is the story of how we partially invented and partially discovered the magic lamp of making movies. And yet it happened amidst the tragedy of the pandemic in the most trying conditions. This is that story. When the lockdown locked us into our homes and the future of filming seemed uncertain, we were forced to think, what if the virus does not go away? How are we going to make movies? It was during our frantic search for answers that we came across what Disney had done for their hit TV show Mandalorian. What they had done was erected a 70 feet circular wall of LEDs, which they called a volume. And then they shot most of the show within the circle of those LEDs. Hard to believe. A sci-fi show, space travel and everything. It was too good to be true, yet it was true. Powered by the Epic Games gaming engine, which they call the Unreal Engine. The volume was making everything possible. We began to study the Unreal Engine. It was unreal. It can create any world and as photorealistically as cinema. A few months down the road, the pressure of the lockdown began to bite. Filming was becoming a financial urgency. My daughter had to finish her show. She had night scenes to film, and that too on the road in the Ballad Estate area of Mumbai. How the hell were we going to do that? We huddled together and wondered if the LED walls were the way. We bought a world of Unreal Engine and made it look like the Ballad Estate area. And then setting up our LED screens, we set to work. Our hearts were beating, the energy was nervous, but we did it. We filmed Ballad Estate inside a studio. Our journey had begun. After that, a world began to open itself up to us. Could we make a hotel lobby? Yes, we could. We turned an office set to look like a hotel lobby. Could we do a coffee shop? Yes, we could. Could we do a party scene? Yes, we can do a party scene. And please do note the traffic that moves outside the window. This is no green screens, it's live. It's just a meeting of the real and the virtual world. And we had only scratched the surface of this magic land. For our film Cold, we decided to do a Mandalorian and shoot the entire film within the LED walls. A tough one, but it's an exhilarating experience. The first set was a piano bar. So we made a set in the virtual world, threw it on the LED screens, and there was the magic. Could we add some rain outside the windows? Yes, absolutely. Unreal Engine can do that. A railway station in the mountains in the magic light. We nailed it. Imagine getting magic light for a whole shift. Mixed reality is here and we are beginning to ace it. And yet, how are we going to create huge worlds? Could we make a world within the engine and mix both the worlds using LED? My next show had a gangster sitting inside a garage in the wheat fields of Punjab. We created the entire wheat field in the virtual world and then matched it to the real world. A secret organization in an industrial estate, and we did it again. And then for Anamika, we had to do an accident scene. Very expensive and not allowed in the lockdown. Unreal Engine helped us again. This technology comes at a great advantage. It saves huge amount of traveling costs, setting work, labor, because now the world is on our fingertips. Simply put, right from the city to the mountains to the icy tundra, everything is at our beck and call.
That's awesome. I am going to stop share. Apologies for the video sharing. I'm sure you all had a good time reading my WhatsApp messages.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vikram, please, you wanna
Everything is a story.
you wanna talk more. You wanna talk a little more about the work that you have done. It's like truly pioneering work that you just kind of just took upon yourself to figure out. In fact, I think the last you really reached out to Unreal after you figured everything out. And you're like, you've done everything, now, come take a look at it. So you want to talk about? Yeah.
So I didn't know how to get in touch with Unreal. I tried various ways. I saw that there was some presence like, Green Drain and companies like that. So I had to learn it all myself. Of course, there was a lockdown as well. So me and strangely, nobody in India, or let's say nobody in Mumbai, the VFX teams that I work with on a regular basis, knew about Unreal Engine. Of course, they had heard about it, but when it came to doing work on LED screens, they were like, you're on your own. We don't know how to do this. And there's a very funny incident on my set when my daughter was directing, and I had created this coffee shop for her, which was also in the presentation. And then the assistant director came to me and said, can we have another coffee shop after lunch? I was like, what? He says, just another one because we have another scene. I said, dude, just because it's online doesn't mean you don't have to make it. You have to make it. So it was funny, and it was how people were getting excited by the opportunities and the possibilities, and if an actor was ill and an actor didn't come, you could actually put up the set again because it was virtual. So most of my work has been in mixed reality. But what I find with Mr. Reddy talking, and I think there will be a time, because I feel, Arvind, that this virtual Unreal Engine world is going to be a film industry on its own. It's going to be a virtual film industry.
Mm-hmm.
And in that virtual film industry, you will need a virtual director, a virtual DOP, a virtual production designer, and you'll need people like Mr. Reddy, who will make all of that possible. So the time will have to come where all of us get together, and that would be a complete service, because there is something that a director can do, and a lighting expert can do that others cannot. But at the same time, there is something that people who do blueprints and codes can bring in. So I think what it calls for, a coming together of minds to just blow this whole place up with possibilities.
No, absolutely. I think what Vivek is doing is your traditional workflows and pipelines don't necessarily work when you're working the traditional way, and that's kind of
Right.
what Vivek and in fact Nesikaa have been pioneering towards, which is finding new ways of getting people together. In fact, a lot of virtual productions is also saw like people don't wear the same hat. Like people are always writing blueprints, and then suddenly they are on next to the LED wall to make sure that the lighting looks good, and then they are probably moving mountains and trees and making sure the camera tracking looks good. So it's like
Exactly.
I absolutely hear you. So on that note, Nesikaa, why don't you tell about yourself? You have been, of course, pioneering virtual production for filmmakers in and around Chennai and Hyderabad for almost 2 years now. So can you maybe talk about what stage Unreal does? Talk about the efforts that you have been taking to educate and create awareness about virtual production amongst the traditional teams who are more conservative but still want to start using virtual production. Can you maybe speak on that front?
Yeah, sure. So with our experience, I would say that where we stand right now is our success is basically when we understood how we can incorporate the virtual production to an indie-based film market. And we kind of did a little modifications to the workflow and the pipeline to especially use it over here, rather than abroad, where you can, like a studio like NAN Studios is something like a huge, still like it's a huge investment when we compare right now. But so I think that's where we started kind of like we modified it for our own way of filmmaking, which would best suitable for an Indian filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing which was kind of like which we have done, and it's different from the abroad studios, is I'd say we've been shooting for the past 1 year without a permanent stage actually.
Mm-hmm.
Been putting a temporary solutions every time when we shoot, and I think that's been quite kind of like an evolution in virtual production for us, because I don't think any studio has done in abroad, because setting up a studio once is fine, but then doing that for every single time was, you had to rethink, you have to think out of a box for that. And even though there were a lot of documentation, and right now we have a lot of documentation for virtual production and in-camera VFX, but I think to make that work for our industry, that's where we came in. That's where we succeeded.
So what is different about, when you mentioned our own way of filmmaking, right? Like what do you mean by that? Like what is it different about shooting elsewhere versus shooting in your own ways? Like, can you maybe like talk on that front?
Yeah, I would say for example, if you take a Mandalorian or any other studios that has been filming LED wall especially, and the way our Indian film industry has been and the way they are is quite different. And that even right from the market level and the way they work, and the lighting differs actually, And another thing I would like to talk about is how when they were using the LED walls, you can see that most of them were using the ceiling LED wall also for their lighting. And in our conditions, as far as we've shot, we went with a straight LED wall for 60 feet by 20 feet. And with our lighting scenarios where we have this, where we would like to highlight our characters with some backlight, or the type of lighting that differs from us from the abroad, because our skin tone is different. So we want to especially bring that little dramatic mood to our scenes, and the way we light things is totally different from how they do that. Even though we were able to achieve the reflections and all that from the LED wall, but we did not go with the ceiling LED wall.
Got it.
And also, even though we've been shooting for 1 year, we've been doing with the LED panels which is available here for mostly like events, not like still we have not shot one output with an industry standard LED walls, or especially designed for virtual production. But we've been achieving results equally matching like what they have been shooting.
Yeah, that's actually amazing, right? Because you are not just copying work that's been done elsewhere, but you are extending and innovating work that works for an Indian condition. Would you be able to like maybe share one of the recent works that you have done, so that folks who are watching or listening to this panel have a context about the kind of work you have done? I believe the latest work is called Kalavati, right?
Yeah. I'm just sharing the link, so if you can just play that for me.
It's a 4-minute or 5-minute long music video, so I'll maybe like skip a bit.
Yeah. Just I'll tell you when to skip. Yeah. I think I've sent you the link. If you can just open that up for me.
Yes. Hold on. I don't think I see it.
Okay, 1 second.
No, I got it. Okay, I found it myself.
Yeah. Okay, I think I sent it to Vikram.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're welcome.
All right. So you will now see my WhatsApp messages. Hope you can all see my WhatsApp messages. No? No. So let me.
I just skipped all those lyrical parts, and I'll just tell you from where to play. Yeah, just play from there. Yeah.
చడిసిందే నిన్ను జతపడమని తెగ పిలిచినదే కమ్మ కమ్మ కళావతి ఒక వెయ్యో ఒక లక్షో మెరుపులు మీదికి దూకినాయా ఏందే నీ మాయా
Stop. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that's and this is of course the #1 trending music today on YouTube.
Yeah, it's been trending in Hyderabad for some time right now, since it's been never released. And yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, Nesikaa. Now I'll kind of maybe go to like more general questions that you folks can answer, right? One is like, so we have been seeing a significant attention being gained for virtual production. And Vikram, you talked about how the pandemic really added a greater sense of urgency and really accelerated its uptake. So can you maybe like speak upon that, and what does it mean for the future of filmmaking? You touched upon that, but maybe Vivek or Nesikaa, do you have opinions on that front?
Your question asking me or?
No, it's really general, but you did touch upon that in when you talked about it earlier. So I'll throw it to Vivek. Vivek, you wanna say like what does it mean? What does the future of filmmaking look like in your opinion?
Okay, great question. So I see that yeah, there is LED wall production happening right now, but if I have to be very honest, the way I think that even that will be going out, and it'll probably be completely digital humans is what I see.
Okay.
I strongly believe digital humans are going to be much more photorealistic in the next couple of years in virtual production. And yes, right now they cannot emote with everything, and the interactions are a problem. But we are going to solve it. Computing is getting better, much better in the last 4 or 5 years, right? So I still stay strong with that opinion that in the next 2-3 years or 4 years, we can see proper digital humans coming on board in virtual production. And yes, real-time engines, game engines are going to be having more tools within them, so that we don't have to use multiple softwares. I believe all the tools for even modeling or clothing or anything will come into this one giant application, and the cross connection is going to be much more easier. And so filmmaking is going to be definitely completely virtual, but I strongly see that digital humans are going to take a huge role coming forward.
So does it mean that you're thinking about like, having rather than having an actor and having them sit or act in front of a LED volume, you're going to just shoot them directly inside the engine itself?
Yes, inside the virtual world, and make them act directly inside there through motion capture and performance capture. But I strongly believe the quality is going to be on par with what real world cameras or real humans are able to do. But that's just for future. I mean, if you have to mention like what's the future, but that's for probably 4 or 5 years. Is what I feel.
Arvind, can I step in here with you, don't mind, Anil Vanwari? So what does it mean for all the unions of the extras and for stunt doubles and all that? If digital humans are going to be coming in and you won't need so many extras and stunt doubles?
Yeah, probably.
There's going to be a bit of uprising in that area.
I think I can answer that question, sir. But see, even though we need people to do a motion capture, it's not that we are going to do it animating everything. So the stunt doubles will transform into motion capture artists.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that already, right? Like, in fact, one of the first shoots that Nesikaa did was for the Master movie. Like, where you had like a dancer wearing a suit, but he was really dancing in the steps of Vijay, who is the actor. And they were still, but they were able to like save some time, I guess, which is like, which is upfront in pre-production. So they're able to figure out the steps, they're able to figure out the environment, all of that upfront. So it was more pre-production decision making that was done. I don't think you'll ever get away with not using stunt doubles and
So I want to, if I may just
please
jump in here. There was a situation in my series Anamika, which I shot a lot virtually. So there was a sequence where the girl, Sonali Saigal, has to go and save a boy. But she did not have the dates, and then it seemed at the edit that it was the most important sequence. So what I did is that I asked an assistant to just take shots of her in 1 hour. Shots of her driving, shots of her reacting, shots of her taking a left, shots of her taking a right. And then I made a whole car chase on my own. Well, there is a link in case you want to play it, of how the car chase actually came out. And of course, this was WIP. There was some particles and dust and everything that needed to be put. But to my mind, a lot of people who saw it couldn't even believe that, it wasn't real. So, yeah, the world is changing. And Mr. Banwari's question is right, that there is going to be, it's going to be difficult for to get jobs for all these people. There is going to be that problem for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. And I don't think we have answered. I don't think we have an answer right now.
No, the answer is not good.
Yeah.
To be honest, the answer is that there's a lot that we can do without.
And also the junkets will stop to overseas locals for shoots, the Swiss visits, possibly because you can then project it onto LED walls. And
Switzerland is already here. So
yeah, which is good actually for the production community.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we don't have to deal with a lot of stuff. But I'll tell you what is the biggest advantage. What Unreal Engine has done is that it has leveled the playing field. Every filmmaker now can make a big film. If you want great locations, you've got it. If you want stunts, you got it. If you want meta-humans to create a lot of people in the background, you've got it. What I was scared of as a filmmaker who was making a medium budget film that, I can't afford a road in New York, or I can't afford a car stunt. That's finished. I mean, I'll just send you a video. Perhaps Arvind will play, but it's how action is now going to be done. I mean, that's how I'm doing my action now.
So I can play the video. I think it's a 2-minute long video. I'm just going to play it really quickly.
It'll be entertaining, I assure you.
That's awesome.
So what you're stating is the flying off the unfinished road, that is all in Unreal, right?
Everything is unreal,
Wow. Wow.
except for the girls' close-ups.
Wow, but the director had to really get into getting those, panic situation, the aggression she had to show while steering, all that, all the different emotions had to come up.
Yeah, of course. That is.
And the lighting also had to be proper. So fantastic. Hats off to you, Mr. Bhatt.
Thank
I call you Vikram, but I call you Mr. Bhatt since you call you Mr. Vanvari.
No, you can call me Vikram. That's fine.
Call me Anil too. Thank you. Over to you, Arvind.
Thank you so much, Anil. That was a very good. That was a very good question, and it just answered really. It's like Vikram already knew about that question and really just put it out there too. Great. And I know we're running out of time. We have about 10 more minutes. So I also want to, because we're talking to the industry people directly at this summit, as really pioneers in virtual production, what are the roles and skills that you're looking for to build out your virtual production team? Nesikaa, you wanna take a shot on that?
Yeah, I would say in the field work which we've been facing, I would say one of the important roles which I think is virtual cinematographer. And since we've done projects with DOPs who did not have any idea about Unreal Engine or virtual production, even they were able to, bring out a full song using virtual production. And that was possible because there was a person called a virtual cinematographer who bridged the gap between the traditional filmmakers and the people who knew virtual production. So I think I'm seeing that role as a very important role that might be, in the coming years, virtual cinematographer would become a very important role.
So virtual cinematographer will also include someone who is like in terms of Unreal, would mean that they have to learn to know how to write tools. It's not just about the artist front, I guess. They also need to write tools, know about blueprints, know about shader writing, I guess. Is that right?
More than the technical part, I would say that they bring the artistic ideas to the technicians.
That's what I'm saying. She's very right. I'm sorry to interject. She's very right, Arvind. What needs what all three of us actually who are right now on your panel. Virtual production needs all three of us together, actually.
Correct. Yeah.
It needs somebody like Mr. Reddy. It needs someone like Nesikaa. It needs someone like me. As a director, I know the virtual shots I need. I know the virtual lighting. I can do it myself. I can use the lights. I know how to light up. I'm the son of a DOP. So I know all that. You need somebody like him to, have the workflows, the processes. You need somebody like Nesikaa to get, maybe the tracking systems and the LEDs and the DI as we are shooting going. So it'll take all of us. It's going to take all of us to do this.
No,
right now, all of us are, doing our roles separately. But there'll be a time where we'll be working together.
True.
I'm sure.
True. Actually, Arvind, when you asked the question, my answer was mostly related to we need integration engineers, somebody who writes plugins for C++ plugins. I was going to say that, but yeah, it's true. We also trying to work closely with computer vision people and OpenCV skills and also networking people is what we work closely with, so that latency problems are solved and coroutine problems are solved. That's something that definitely we are looking for in terms of human resource or kind of talent that we work with.
Yeah, Arvind, I just wanted to ask you a question. Where does disguise come in as a glue for all this?
Yeah, so disguise is really, I cannot talk for disguise, but fundamentally disguise provides I'd say like a box solution, right? Like
the media servers and the software.
Yeah, just get you there, plop it, and you're good. So you don't have to build everything from scratch, and that's kind of where disguise is. I'm sure disguise folks who I'm sure are around here would probably give you a better answer, but that's really where it is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. We have one more question, which is coming from the audience really, which is about it's actually to Nesikaa, which is like, would you be able to like, talk more about the music video and the boundaries of the stage that you use? And funnily enough, it's like, sounds crazy that you just pull down the LED volume, put it back again, pull it back down, pull it back again. It's like you have no one has experienced building one LED wall in India. Now you have like 5 experience only.
But there's one shot that she has taken,
Yeah.
Nesikaa has taken, that really stands out, and that's the long shot. With all the wide shot with all of them in the LED.
Yeah.
Everywhere else they are in front of the screen.
Yeah.
That's one shot in which all of them are inside. Maybe she did a green screen and put them in later. But that is creativity.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of the video, where you transport all of them inside it in a wide shot. So oh my God, they are in the hall. That was well done.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So yeah, to answer that question, the space which this was shot on was actually a little smaller than what we usually shoot for. We usually shoot in a 60 by 20 wall, and we put around 40 feet before foreground area for our working. And this was a little bit smaller area, so we had to work on a very smaller workspace compared to our other videos. So this was, I think, the foreground, we only had about 30 feet in the foreground, and the wall was, I think it was 60 by 20, but we didn't have much space in the foreground. Like before, we had around like about 40 feet, that area which we had to recreate physically for the background. And for this stage, we didn't have that much of enough working space. It was shot in EVP here in Chennai. And, so the floor, we had a little bit of restriction, so we had to cut down a little bit of space in the foreground. And it was also actually much enough for this song specifically, because there wasn't much of movements of the subjects over there. They're all musicians playing the instruments, so they're not going to move too much. So that space was enough for that.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I think one of the things that we have been working on is also this creating this tech quiz inside Unreal Engine, so you're able to also plan your shoots out before you even build the LED volume, which is great. We have 4 more minutes, so quickly going around the panel. Let's start with Vikram. Is there like anyone that you want to give a shout out to for the work that you have done, so that people are aware of these people or these service companies or anything that you have helped you out with?
So fortunately or unfortunately, I started doing this all on my own. And I have to thank all the asset developers who sell their wares on the Unreal market. As a matter of fact, I got so many of the assets that I can even recognize Nesikaa's cathedral that she has used on her set, and I'm like, oh, I know that one. But there is Green Rain now, and Liminal. Karan from Green Rain has stepped in for Unreal Engine, and they have helped me with the workflows a lot, and I'm really thankful to them and for helping me, tide over some really difficult bottlenecks that I couldn't wrap my head around.
Awesome. Yeah, Marketplace is definitely awesome. And Karan from Green Rain is also pretty awesome. And so is Luminal. Thank you. Vivek, you wanna give a shout out to anyone?
Sure. Like so one of the things is I was told that India is kind of like does not adapt technology very, very fast. It's kind of slow moving, and when I was working there, that was like the story, like, right? Because look, if we also like look from a different perspective, Titanic released in '96, and like we're trying to match content creation from 30 years in so many aspects in terms of West, right? Trying to match West or beat West in certain aspects of storytelling. So a shout out in the sense means like there are 3 projects which 2 are still still under progress, and one is completed. But But yeah, shout out will be for the producers who are actually trusting the process and who are believing in the idea that this definitely requires certain amount of risk when they, because certain things might not work out, right? At the end of the day, it is like you go with a certain idea and certain things will work out, certain things might not work out, but it requires people with capital and producers to be actually brave enough to enter the market. So those are the people I'll usually give a proper shout out for, because risk taking is necessary for India if you have to stand out in the market of content creation, and it requires like pulling the right set of people as well. So they're doing it, and I'm happy for them. I'm really glad that they're coming on board and they're doing this.
That is absolutely true. I mean, you know, I've spoken to producers all the time who are like, you know, you're budgeted for like a traditional workflow already, so why bother? But you know, if you really got to match the quality, you got to go there. Thanks, man. Nesikaa, anyone, any person, any service provider, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
No shout out, but I would like to add this interesting fact to the video which you just played. I would say that the entire song we have shot in LED wall in a time of 6 hours. For 3 to 4 minutes, we shot in 6 hours, and I think that was something which virtual production is majorly going to develop over here, because how fast we are going to work and how fast things are going to be shot. If it's all the shots are pre-planned and pre-vised properly, we can achieve more than what we can, you know, do in traditional production methods.
Yeah, that's great. It's more like a shot out than a shout out, I guess. That's great. Well, I think we pretty much come to the end of this panel discussion, and thank you, Vikram, Nesikaa, Vivek, for being part of this panel. I think we put together this panel precisely because you all have like, you all come from the same virtual production family, but you know, each of you do some different things which you have to work together on. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we as Unreal can help you out, and maybe we can collaborate to create something awesome. So,
That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.